your class. That's what you told me.
Yeah, she's fruit cookies.
You look like Chiranti too because you have a headpiece.
Yes,
She always wears a headpiece.
our styles are very similar.
And she was here for several months.
Really?
Yeah, cooking. When she was separated from her husband for a while. Yeah.
She was there with me when I was in Mayapur last, but she did Bhakti Shastri, I did Bhakti Vaibhava.
Ah, nice.
I saw her Instagram. She did Bhakti Shastri.
Jaya Radha Srimad is Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam. Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Sri. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by Srila Prabhupada, Canto 4, Chapter 31, Text 21. And it's the same kind of irregular meter today as we had yesterday. Nabhajati kumani shanang sa'id. Okay, Nabhajati kumani Kumanishanang Said. Dan 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 bhajati Kumanishanam na na bhajati Kumanishinang sa Iljam. Go ahead. Dan 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 dan. Doesn't quite make it. Anyway, maybe we'll just do prose. Sabhajati. No, it is poetry, so we got to make something. Yeah. Sabhajati kumanishinam saijam.
Navajate kumanashinam saijam.
Harir adhanat adhana priyo rasagya. Shrutadhana kula karmanam madarye. Shrutadhana kula karmanam madarye. Vidadhati papam akinchaneshu satsu. Vidadhati papam akinchaneshu satsu. Nabhajati kumanishinam saijam. Nabhajati kumanishinam saijam. Harir adhanat madana priyo rasagya. Atmadana priyo rasagya. Shrutadhana kula karmanang madaye. Dana kula karmanang madaye. Vidadhati papam akinchaneshu satsu.
Vidadati papam akinchaneshu satsu.
Nabhajati kumanishinam saijam.
Navajate
kumanishinam saijam. Harir adhanat madana priyo rasagya.
Harir adhanat madana priyo rasagya.
Shrutadhana kula karmanang madarye.
Shrutadhana kula karmanang madarye.
Vidadhati papam akinchaneshu satsu.
Vidadati papam akinchaneshu satsu.
Any brave souls?
Navajate kumanishinam saijam. Harir adhanat madana priyo rasagya.
Rasagya.
Shrutadhana kula karmanam madarye. Vidadati papam akinchaneshu satsu.
Navajati kamanishinam saijam.
Navajati kumanishinam saijam.
Harir adhanat madana priyo rasagya.
Harir adhanat madana priyo rasagya.
Shrutadhana kula karmanam madarye.
Shrutadhana kula karmanam madarye.
Vidadati papam akinchaneshu satsu.
Vidadati papam akinchaneshu
This meter, I think,
satsu.
is similar to one of the 10th canto that Dravida shows me.
Okay.
It's like a long beginning. But I want to ask him, and I kind of want to send this verse to him and ask him.
Yeah.
He knows all the meters, you know.
Right. Anyone else? Okay. Word for word. Na, never. Bhajati, accepts. Kumanishinam, of persons with a dirty heart. Saha, he, Idyam, offering. Harihi, the Supreme Lord. Adhana, to those who have no material possessions. Atmadhana, simply dependent on the Lord. Priyaha, who is dear. Rasagya, who accepts the essence of life. Shruta, education. Dhana, wealth. Kula, aristocracy. karmanam, and of fruitive activities, madai, by pride, yea, all those who vidadhati, perform papam, disgrace, akinchaneshu, without material possessions, satsu, unto the devotees. This is Narada Muni continuing to preach to the prachetas. A lot of pings here. What's going on?
Sorry. India's texting me to go
Okay. Translation. This is Narada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions, but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees. Those who are puffed up with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Even if such people offer the Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions, but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees. Those who are puffed up with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Even if such people offer the Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them. I was thinking of how Duryodhana offered Krishna a nice feast. He didn't want it. He went to Vidura's instead, and he accepted the banana peel from Vidura's wife, because that was made with devotion. Srila Prabhupada's purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is dependent on his pure devotees. It sounds funny, huh? What do you mean? He's independent, but in this sense, he does not even accept the offerings of those who are not devotees. A pure devotee is one who feels he does not possess anything material. A devotee is always happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Devotees may sometimes appear materially poor, but because they are spiritually advanced and enriched, they are most dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such devotees are free from attachment to family, society, friendship, children, and so on. They abandon affection for all these material possessions and are always happy in possessing the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead understands the position of his devotee. If a person derides a pure devotee, and here's where the purport turns, Prabhupada starts warning. If a person derides a pure devotee, he is never recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the Supreme Lord never excuses one who offends a pure devotee. There are many examples of this in history. A great mystic yogi, Durvasa Muni, offended the great devotee Ambarish Maharaj. The great sage Durvasa was to be chastised by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord, even though the great mystic directly approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was never excused. Those on the path of liberation should be very careful not to offend a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master is kindly opening my eyes. With the torch of knowledge, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So in yesterday's verse, which we saw on Zoom with Lavanga, Narada Muni, and Lavanga too, very feelingly described how the devotees think about the Lord. That's what it mainly was about, how the devotees think about the Lord. In today's verse, Narada describes how the Lord feels about his pure devotees. And as you were hearing the reading and hearing the verse, it might have reminded you of another verse. Yes. Yes, and we're going to look at that. That's why I brought the first canto. Narada and Queen Kunti are on the same page in so many ways. And so Narada's description of the pure devotees as akinchani, shu, or without material possessions, echoes Queen Kunti's description of pure devotees as kinchana gochara, materially exhausted, fed up. And also Narada's description of materially proud people and their foolish fate again echoes Kunti's description of such people. So let's take a look at that, because it's such a famous... I actually was lucky enough to see Prabhupada lecture on this in LA, April 73. I was traveling Sankirtan out of San Diego with Mahatma, was our Sankirtan leader. We stopped in LA because we knew Prabhupada was going to be there. And so Prabhupada was lecturing on prayers of Queen Kunti, and this was the verse. Yeah. So here it is. And it was also videoed, because you can also see Prabhupada lecturing on this on video. So, yeah. So Kirtaneshwar Prabhu gave us the Sanskrit, and then the English is, "My Lord, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with a respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling." Materially exhausted. When a few days ago, Brigitte Bardot passed away, died at the age of 91. Most of you are too young to even know who she is, but when I was growing up, Brigitte Bardot, she was like the goddess, the French goddess. She was like the French Marilyn Monroe or something. So anyway, so she was a big movie star in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. But she was so hounded, because she was beautiful, and she was so hounded by the paparazzi and everything that she became totally fed up with it, disgusted. And she renounced being a movie star, at the age of 39 or something, whatever it was. And then for the rest of her life, which was most of her life, from the 70s up until just, a few days ago, she was a militant animal rights activist. And what did she say in French? La vie animale est plus important de la vie humaine. Or no, not plus important. The life of animals is just as important as the life of people. And she said, en fact, People annoy me. People, because she had been, oppressed by so many people who, that's the downside of becoming famous. People want a piece of you all the time. They're always after you. So she became an animal rights activist, and that was a lot better than being a movie star. What did she say? In my youth, I gave my beauty to men, and then for most of my life, I became wise, and I became compassionate toward the animals. That was a much more worthy life than fooling around, with men on screen. So good for her. All right. So so she became materially fed up, in some way. I mean, not completely. She still had, very attached to the animal cause, but it was better karma. Okay. So all materialistic men, Prabhupada continues in his purport to the Queen Kunti verse, this Queen Kunti verse. The whole chapter is full of amazing verses. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences. And this is known as the advancement of material civilization. Chasing all these things. What are the opulences? Well, the four, she mentioned four. Janmaishvarya, birth, Aishvarya, aristocratic birth. Shruta, learning, Shri, yeah. And this is called advancement of civilization. Prabhupada's being it's like dry British English humor, This is called advancement of civilization. Consequently, such materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing him feelingly. Oh Govinda, oh Krishna. Like Draupadi, right? When finally she let go and just threw up her arms and said, hey Govinda, then Krishna incarnated his endless sari, right? So Dushashan, they were trying to strip her naked. But she was pure, but not pure enough for Krishna to do that amazing pastime. It is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of the Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sins that he is unable to commit. Yeah, that's the verse. But then Prabhupada qualifies that. Such is the power of uttering the holy name of the Lord. There is not the least exaggeration in this statement. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency. But there is a quality to such utterances. So, I can be chanting japa, trying to be attentive and hear, or, there might be Super Bowl day, and I might be trying to chant my rounds while watching the Super Bowl, and that's like building a defense. You can't do that. You can't actually be attentive to the name when you're actually looking at somebody stepping back to pass, or running or whatever. So it depends on the quality of the utterances also. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. What's the quote from the Bible? It is easier to
walk through the movement. For camel to walk through another avenue.
To enter the kingdom. Yeah. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. So it's, I might be going through the motions and chanting my japa, but what's the quality that's going to attract Krishna? If I'm uttering the holy name and I'm thinking about something else, if I let my mind go to the movies, right, of something I'm dreaming about in the future or something I've lost in the past, then it's just like, did you ever talk to somebody who, when you're saying something to them, and all of a sudden, they're not paying attention to you? I mean, I've done that. And you just look, they're all looking all around and they're looking at their watch and they're just waiting for you to, to be done with it. They're just sort of being polite or whatever, or politely impolite. So Krishna's not interested in that. He doesn't need, that kind of inattentive chanting. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting, we say, right? All right. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and attractive beauty, are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. Now, they don't have to be, right? Even Prabhupada is talking about Durvasa Muni in today's purport. Maharaj Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. Maharaj Ambarish had it all, but he used it all for Krishna. He was materially exhausted because he didn't see any of it as his, as being material, as being separate from Krishna. He used it all. Sabai Manak Krishna, he engaged his mind, that whole verse. The material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature as much as fever is an external feature of the unhealthy body. So when we just pursue material opulence, not as devotional service, but just for our own aggrandizement, then that's like a fever. The general process is to decrease the degree of the fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. Sometimes become very poor, like Prabhupada, like Krishna made Prabhupada, a poor man. Then he made him rich another way. when he came, when he stepped out of India and came to the West, and then he could stay anywhere he wanted in the world, and he could, everybody's serving him hand and foot, but he was using it all for Krishna. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign as much as the falling of temperature is a good sign. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication, which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. There's the Bible verse. All right. Okay. So, it's amazing how similar Narada and in the verse, and Queen Kunti in the verse, and Prabhupada in his purport to this verse, and his purport to that verse are very similar. So back to today's verse. Prabhupada's purport describes the characteristics of pure devotees as well as the danger of offending them. And he says, quote, if a person derides a pure devotee, he is never recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the Supreme Lord never excuses one who offends a pure devotee. And then Prabhupada launches into the Durvasa Ambarish pastime. And then how does he end the purport? He ends the purport by saying, those on the path of liberation should be very careful not to offend a pure devotee. So when I read that, I thought, not to offend a pure devotee. So here's my question for you. What happens if I offend a pure devotee, if I offend a devotee who is not a pure devotee? Wait. I didn't finish. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you're chopping at the bit. Okay, I have something from Prabhupada in this, but let's hear how you're. Okay, I did see Lalita first. Yes.
Well, I thought that Srila Prabhupada, when asked how many pure devotees you have, he asked how many devotees they have in general. And, made that analogy of ripe
Mango?
mango and an unripe mango, but it's still a mango. So, therefore, everybody's pure.
The different stages of ripening. Okay, Kirtaneshwar, and then we're going to take Sandamani.
Madhurya Kadamani, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that book specifically talks about overcoming offenses, the whole name.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's different stages of bhakti, but it speaks about the offenses of the whole name. In regards to the offense of considering or blaspheming the pure devotee of the Lord, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he speaks in conversation. And so one of the points is that, or what if I'm criticizing someone who is not so pure, or they're not so advanced, then that makes it okay. Or sometimes we try to rationalize our criticism by saying, oh, well, they did this and they did that. They're not a pure devotee. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this is fully immersed in Maya, and that actually offense is worse if you think that way.
Well, yeah, not only are you not off the hook, but you're on the hook even more.
But yeah, if I say like, oh, so-and-so is this and that, and in my mind I make it okay because they're not Prabhupada. I never criticize Prabhupada. I never criticize Jayapataka Swami, but I'll criticize Bhakti Jack, and therefore I get completely full of offenses that way.
Well, I mean, Dr. Jack,
You're on the hook.
I'm just,
Sandamani, you had some.
Well, I was just gonna say, how do we know who's pure devotee?
Yeah.
Who's not a pure devotee?
That's right.
Somewhere, I don't know where it is, but it says that you have to be pure to recognize someone pure. So at least we can say, we know you're not pure, so how do we say that?
That's right. Exactly. And then there's a famous letter from Prabhupada to Tushta Krishna in New Zealand, who was following Siddha Sarup at the time. And Tushta was saying, because there was a split, Siddha was taking his people. He didn't like the way we were doing book distribution, and he didn't like, he thought there was too much emphasis on deity worship. They were really into Harinam. They'd go out in the streets and do Harinam. And they called themselves the Hari Bowls. They didn't want to even associate themselves with ISKCON. This isn't the Hari, we're the Hari Bowls. So I forget what Tushta had written something to Prabhupada. And so Prabhupada wrote him back and said, why do you say only Siddha Sarup is a pure devotee? And then he said, and then he started looking around him as he was writing the letter. He said, well, Shyam Sundar's here. He's a pure devotee. And then, so-and-so, Shruti Kirti, he's a pure, and we'll have another ISKCON in the spiritual world. That's the last thing he wanted to hear, right? Oh no, ISKCON again. And so he was putting him in his place. Okay, so here's what Prabhupada says in this famous verse about the mad elephant offense. What's the mad elephant offense? Huh? Yes. Well, I should read two. I'll just read the. Okay, this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructing Rupa Goswami at the Shashvamedha Ghat in Allahabad, Prayag. It's C.C. Madhya Leela, chapter 19. Quote, if the devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnav while cultivating the creeper of devotional service in the material world, so you're cultivating the creeper, right? You're hearing and chanting, supposedly, you looks externally like you're doing okay. His offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the creeper and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the creeper are dried up. All right? So here's the purport is really good for this one, for this point. Tate malayata kari kari avaran aparada hastira yaiche nahoya udgam. And so Mahaprabhu says, he's following up, he says, quote, the gardener must defend the creeper by fencing it all around so that the powerful elephant of offenses, just offenses in general, may not enter. Purport. While the Bhakti Lata creeper is growing, the devotee must protect it by fencing it all around. Because we're not here in the material world because we're angels. We're here because we became envious of Krishna. And we wanted our own little scene. We wanted to become the enjoyer and the controller ourselves. So now we're in recovery. We're in the hospital, as Prabhupada would say. And the medicine is chanting Hare Krishna, and the diet is Krishna Prasad. But we have to protect ourselves from relapse, right? Because even when you recover, you can relapse if you're not careful. By fencing it all around. The neophyte devotee must be protected by being surrounded by pure devotees. And we just heard that Prabhupada said all my devotees are pure devotees because they're purely on the path. In this way, he will not give the maddened elephant a chance to uproot his bhakti lata creeper. When one associates with non-devotees, Prabhupada continues, the maddened elephant is set loose. That means associating for sense gratification, not to help them come closer to Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Asat Sangha Tyag E Vaishnava Achar. The first business of a Vaishnava is to give up the company of non-devotees. A so-called mature devotee, however, commits a great offense by giving up the company of pure devotees. It gets better. Listen to this. The human being is a social animal, and if one gives up the society of pure devotees, he must associate with non-devotees. That's asat sangha. Krishna is a social, that comes from Krishna being a social being. Krishna is never alone. He's always with his Krishna and his energy, Krishna and his devotees. By contacting non-devotees and engaging in non-devotional activities, a so-called mature devotee will fall victim to the mad elephant offense. So, the mad elephant offense is not just offending a pure devotee. It's by associating, taking on the characteristics, again, of our materialistic life. Whatever growth has taken place is quickly uprooted by such an offense. One should therefore be very careful to defend the creeper by fencing it in, that is, by following the regulative principles and associating with pure devotees. Now listen to this. This is where it gets really intense. Even if one thinks that there are many pseudo-devotees or non-devotees in the Krishna consciousness society, still one should stick to the society. If one thinks the society's members are not pure devotees, one can keep direct company with the spiritual master. And if there is any doubt, one should consult the spiritual master. However, unless one follows the spiritual master's instructions concerning the regulative principles and chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, one cannot become a pure devotee. By one's mental concoction, one falls down. And then Prabhupada takes off in another direction. But this was an echo of what Lavanga was saying yesterday when she was saying that absorption in hearing and chanting about the Lord gives us the vision and the mood to overlook our differences, because we're all coming to this world, into this world with very different combinations of the gunas, the modes of material nature. But absorption in hearing and chanting gives us the vision and mood to overlook our differences and continue to serve together. Remember when she was saying how I think one of her services is mediating disagreements between devotees? She was saying that? I think it is anyway. I don't know if she said it yesterday. Yeah. So she said when she hears the disputes, when she hears the complaints about people who are arguing, she said, no, wait a minute, this is not a big deal. This is not a big deal, what you guys are describing. How is your sadhana? And she said, it's always that either one or both parties is neglecting basic sadhana, which gives us the vision and the mood and the strength and the devotional mentality, attitude, to overlook the minor differences of others. Yeah. So that's really important. And let's see. Oh yeah, so I brought my laptop because I want to read you Vishwanath's, Chakravarti Thakur's comments on this verse. It's really neat. Oop. Get in. Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? No. Sorry, I was inattentive to entering my password. Okay, boom. All right, here it is. All right. So here's what Vishwanath says. So he's more or less echoing Narada Muni, but he's saying in different kind of words. Though controlled by the devotees, the Lord does not. Though controlled by the devotees, right? Krishna says it's devotional service. He doesn't award pure devotional service to anyone because Krishna becomes purchased by devotional service. Though controlled by the devotees, that means pure devotees, the Lord does not accept the worship offered by those with no devotion. The Lord has dear devotees who have no wealth, but who have the Lord as their wealth. I forget who I told this to. Oh, I told it to Divya, your wife, because the whole thing she went through with Hridayananda recently with Dakshin. So I told her that when I went to collect Dakshin, when Prabhupada initiated me in July 71, and we drove up from New Vrindavan to Detroit. And then when I got back to New Vrindavan, then Kirtanananda, I didn't even know, he said, well, now you have to collect some Dakshin. You have to go to Moundsville, West Virginia, which is really in Appalachia, and you have to collect Dakshin. So I said, oh, okay. So, I mean, in those days, there was no question of wearing anything. I went in a, kurta, bed sheet. Yeah, I wrote thank you for saying that, because that reminds me of a haiku I wrote about here's the haiku. Bald head, orange sheet, begging down Hillbilly Street. $5 absolute. That conforms to the strict rules of haiku.
That's one of the best I ever heard.
So what happened was I went down and somebody drove me, and I was, kurta, dhoti, shaved head, tilak, and I had something that doubled as a begging bowl. I forget, I don't know what it was, And I was going, and this is 1971 in Moundsville. I mean, I don't think that the people had, there were rumors that there was a cult up on McCrary's Ridge, and then one of them appeared in their midst. So I was walking around, and so as soon as people would see me, they'd run away. They thought I just landed, from who knows where.
Did you even get a cent?
Huh?
Did you even get a cent?
Well, I'm coming to it. So so there's this lady, this photographer from the newspaper is called the Moundsville Echo. And so I could tell this must have been the newspaper photographer, because she kind of got close to me, and then I looked at her, and then she sort of went behind the corner of a building. And then she quickly got her Kodak or whatever it was, camera out, and then she ran away. So I don't think it was a daily. I think it was one of those weekly, papers for Marshall County. Yeah, Moundsville was a county seat. Yeah. And so the next time the Moundsville Echo came out, there was a picture of me. You know, it was big news. I mean, what happens? I mean, you know how Moundsville got its name? It's the home of the world's biggest mound. Every place. It was an Indian burial thing. You know how Indians do that, right? So, so anyway, but after I was out there all day. I mean, in the hot sun. It was hot, you know. And then I got back, and I was fried materially and spiritually. It took me all day. People would sometimes, when they got the idea that I was out there begging, they thought, I guess I was homeless or something. I don't know what so they would throw pennies at me, and they would throw change at me, you know. And then I put it in the begging thing. And then somebody picked me up, I forget who. And then I got back and I counted it up, and it was $5. Shaved head, orange sheet, begging down Hillbilly Street. $5 absolute. So here's where I got that line, $5 absolute. So I went to Kirtanananda, and I was practically in tears. And I said, Maharaj, I was out there all day, and all I got is $5. So he said, Prabhupada he's on the absolute platform. Whether you give him $5 or $5 billion, he accepts the devotion. I said, oh, okay. So somehow I went and I got a money order, an international postal money order. You know, there was no PayPal or anything. So, and then I mailed it to London, where I heard he was. And then I finally caught up to him in Nairobi in February of 72. Just the same week I got second initiation, actually. And he thanked me. Please accept my blessings. I thank you very much for the $5 dakshin. Yeah. And I had asked him a question too in the letter. I said, Srila Prabhupada, because that August of 72, when Prabhupada, he had been there. Yeah, he had been there, actually. And why didn't I give him dakshin then? Anyway, I don't know. He came to New Vrindavan for the Bhagavad Dharma discourses. And anyway, so, and it was right on Vyasa Puja Day that, the Macmillan Gita had come out with a complete Gita. So I made it my mind to memorize all the verses. Because I could see, nobody really knew philosophy or anything. So at least I could commit the Gita to memory. It took me 6 years, so I started right there. So I was thinking, wow, I wonder if Prabhupada knows, when I wrote him a letter for thank him for dakshin. I said, I wonder if Prabhupada knows a tune to the Gita. And actually, Jamuna recorded him in 1969 when Prabhupada was living in England. And there is tapes of Prabhupada chanting the Gita. And so, Dharma Kshetre, Kuru Kshetre, Samabhita Rutsava, you can hear Prabhupada chanting the Gita. So I asked him, so is there a melody to the Bhagavad Gita? I mean, what was I expecting? He's going to send me a tape back of him singing the Gita? I don't know what was in my head. So, but Prabhupada, he took the question seriously. He liked that I was, wanted to know about the Gita. So he said, the Bhagavad Gita has a specific melody. But you may choose a suitable tune. You can make up your own. But then he said, most important is to keep the melody very simple. Keep it simple, stupid, KISS. Keep it simple. And then he said, you can take further direction from Kirtanananda Maharaj regarding these matters. Yeah. So, how did that relate to this? Yeah, so the Lord has dear devotees who have no wealth. I didn't have any money or anything, but who have the Lord as their wealth. Yeah. Or he has devotees who are dear treasures for himself, being without material desires. Vishwanath says, giving up attachment to wealth and sons, they place their possessive feelings in the Lord alone. The Lord knows the prema rasa of his devotees, rasa gya. Prabhupada mentioned rasa gya. And my dear god sister Rasa Gya, she was also very dear to Prabhupada because she gave up a budding career on Broadway. She was a great actress. She was going for the big time. But then in New York, she got a book. And she was, wow, this is it. Because she was really at heart, searching, even more. I mean, she was in ISKCON plays. You might have seen her. A beautiful woman, German American, and Prabhupada saw them perform Age of Kali. But she was just Rasagya, she was, Prabhupada gave her that name. Yeah. Expert in loving mellow. She's a very loving person. My former wife, when she was a bhaktin in New York in the 55th Street Temple, Rasagya took her under her wing, and she nurtured her. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, persons of wrong mentality are described. They commit sin towards the devotees by their pride in education, wealth, and family, and various actions like sacrifices. And then Vishwanath says, what's going on? Oh, here it is. And he quotes the Sanskrit to an 11th canto verse. How are we doing? You got a question, huh? You got a question? Okay. So let me just, we got time for this. And then it's right here. And Vishwanath quotes it. And the translation to the verse is, well, he says, with pride, this is how I guess Bhanu Swami translated his translation of it, his rendering of it. With pride and wealth, power, good birth, education, renunciation, beauty, strength, and performance of rituals, they, proud people, they become foolish and cruel, and disrespect the devotees along with the Lord. And here's how BBT team translated. It's Bhagavatam 11.5.9. The intelligence of cruel-minded persons is blinded by false pride based on great wealth, opulence, prestigious family connections, education, renunciation, personal beauty, physical strength, and successful performance of Vedic rituals. Being intoxicated with this false pride, such cruel persons, Krishna says, blaspheme. Oh no, this is Chamasa Rishi to King Nimi. Blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. There is a short purport, but I think we'll go to Kirtaneshwara Prabhu's questions. Yes?
So, my question is, I feel like seems like there's a dichotomy in that Prabhupada's saying, where there's so many pure devotees around me. And then at the same time, we hear Prabhupada say, devotees have to be free of all these. I mean, I don't know if he's paraphrasing this verse, but I think of that verse, Mayana, Nena Bhavena, Bhakti Yogena, Yedurdam, Mat Krite, Twakto Karmanas, Twakto Swajana Bandhava, that all karmas, the pure devotees for my sake give up all material activities, all friends, all family. And then it seems like, there's a lot, there's just too much distance to cover for someone like me in my life, To
give up all these things.
Yeah, there's just too much distance to cover. It seems like what hope is there? And then I also think about, that's it. That's the question.
That how are we ever going to be able to give up these things and become so pure?
How are we ever going to be, how is it possible for us to be, pure devotees? It seems like it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, This is Prabhupada, and Krishna does the same thing in different verses. Krishna, that verse in the 11th canto about being unable to give up sense gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, they use two things. And in modern parlance, it's called the carrot and the stick. Right? They give us encouragement. I'm just watching, if you want to see some good follow-up to the memory series, watch, Siddhanta's got a new series called Lessons from Letters. I can send you a link. And it's older devotee, from my generation, who got a lot of letters from Prabhupada, and they're going through the letters, and then the devotees are giving background, deeper, of why Prabhupada's writing this about them. So I've just finished watching Jadharani's, and I was saying how, Prabhupada was always encouraging her to be, you're already a great artist, and her first paintings were so crude. But she was because he was trying to encourage her. And then later on, Prabhupada would say, yes, in the beginning you could not paint. But she was so sincere, and Prabhupada said, Krishna will help you. He'll make you a great artist. Because she was saying, I want to go back to school and study the great masters. I want to go to Italy, and study with it, how the masters did it, so they can be more realistic. And so Prabhupada, no, because then you will just fall into Maya, trying to become very important artist, and you will, yeah. So
Her paintings are the most beautiful.
yeah. Yes, so it's both things. It's like, or the story with Shrutakirti of Prabhupada saying you have to become 10% pure devotee, and then you could, all the devotees were like, they were thinking where they're at, and then 90%, 80%, and then they went down to 60%, and then don't worry, I have a key to the back door. Even if you show up and then he said, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm with the Swami. Oh, okay, go ahead. Because the Lord loves the one who loves the Lord. So anybody who's trying to serve, in Prabhupada's mission is very, very dear to Krishna. So it's both things. That's the paradox of spiritual life. And we're going to have Vanessa, but we don't want to disappoint. What did Lavanga say? Don't disappoint Jamuna, and don't be late for breakfast.
I on the point of Jadharani getting more education, desiring that, and Prabhupada saying no, I thought it was interesting because I was talking to devotees in San Diego, like Antonella, and she's very classically a pianist, and plays piano, and people were telling her go get your classical, your next level education class, and she chose not to because she thought it would impress upon her negatively, because she loved to write music, she loved to be kind of expressive and free form, and so that was in relativity. I had a question about how.
But somebody else, if you hear Hridayananda Maharaj talk, Prabhupada specifically told him,
go and get
to finish your education and preach to the intelligent people. Go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe it's more creative outlets. They kind of.
It's individual.
Get puffed up. The question I had was about Krishna defend. So when a devotee is maybe offended and forgets that, neglects that, and then Krishna not forgetting that, what does that look like? Because I can understand maybe the devotee, there's some lasting impression or something that affects the devotee over time maybe, but they're constantly, engaged and trying to shed false ego and things like that. But what does it look like for Krishna to never forget an offense to a pure devotee?
Yeah, Krishna never forgets, but he also always is giving us opportunities to rectify it too.
Does he just liberate them, like he says?
No, he usually through the devotees. I have a dear friend, Mother Ragatmika, her? She lives back in Alachua now, but we're friends. And so I can be very cutting sometimes. Okay. So I was giving class in Prabhupada Village in Sandy Ridge once in the 90s, and after class, she took me aside. She said, you know, Suresvara, sometimes the way you speak, you can be very cutting and you can discourage people. I said, oh, but that was Krishna's mercy on me, that I accepted it from her, right? Whereas if somebody else said it and I might have just blown them off, you're just envious or something, who knows what I would have thought. So Krishna, he has ways of
Yeah, getting humbled by someone you
yeah,
equally respect.
yeah. Okay, it's 9:01. We're
Briefly, this point that I've heard many times. I think Radha Swami was saying that, you know, like all the devotees who made offenses got rectified and got liberated, you know, even Durvasa Muni, Gopala Chapala, all the people in the CC, Damodar Pandit, they all were some, even you know, Parikshit Maharaj. There's so many examples. Chitraketu Maharaj, how
That's a good point.
It was not good. You know, they had to suffer, but still, Krishna doesn't forget the service they did either.
Yeah.
And he sees that more than the offense.
Yeah. Vibhavagrahi Janardana.
Actually, it was Kadamba Kana Swami.
Acha. Okay, on that note, we don't want to offend Mother Sundamini, and we don't want to. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.